Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This week I'm sharing 3 stuffed chicken recipes. 2 of these I have made many times. The mushroom recipe though was new to me and I am now in love with that recipe. Let's go ahead and get started and let me show you how to make these. This buffalo chicken is one of Elijah's favorite things that I make, so I'm going to start off by making the filling for the inside. I have 4 ounces of softened cream cheese right here. I'm just mixing it to make sure that it is soft enough to stir. And I'm going to go ahead and add half a pack of ranch seasoning. This is very salty, so you do not need to add any salt or anything like that. And then I'm going to add a half teaspoon of garlic powder and a half cup of shredded cheddar cheese. Once you get that all mixed up, just set it aside for right now and we're going to start on our chicken breast. So we are just going to create pockets in our chicken. I'm not starting all the way at the end. As you can see, I'm leaving a small area where I'm not cutting, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut across, and the same thing on the other side. Do not cut all the way through the end because you are making a pocket, not completely cutting it in half. So once I get it cut, I'm going to go ahead and take my knife and just kind of go along the bottom and try to make the pocket as deep as I can get without going all the way through. Now I'm moving these over to a small baking dish. I did put some non-stick spray in here just to be safe, and then you can use your filling and start stuffing your chicken breast. I just pretty much divide it between the two. However, this one breast was a little bit larger, so this one had a little bit more stuffing in it. Just make sure that you're pushing the stuffing down. That way it's getting all the way into the pocket. And then once you get it filled, you're going to pull the top of the chicken over and try to enclose that filling so it doesn't leak out too bad. Once that's done, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of pepper and a little bit of garlic powder over the top of the chicken. Now I'm going in with this Sweet Baby Ray's buffalo wing sauce. You could also use Frank's if you don't like this brand, but I've never actually tried it with Frank's, but I'm sure it would be just as good. I'm just going to put a very small amount of this buffalo wing sauce over the top and just use my fork from the filling to smear it around just to make sure the tops have a little bit of sauce covering them. Once that's done, these are going into a 375-degree oven. Mine took about 35 minutes. It's going to change depending on how big the chicken breasts are and your oven, of course, so you might have to keep an eye on it. And then once it's done, you're going to go ahead and add more buffalo sauce. I like to do this once it's on the plate just so you're not wasting all that sauce running down into all that liquid that was in the pan. And then I also add some ranch dressing, but you could use blue cheese dressing too if you like that better. And then I'm adding a little bit of parsley on the top just to give it that finished touch. Like I said, this is one of Elijah's favorite dinners. I usually just make it with some french fries or the rice-a-roni 4-cheese rice. That's really good with this as well, but it is a big hit here. Next up, my new favorite recipe for stuffed chicken, mushroom and spinach chicken. I'm going to take 2 chicken breasts, get those patted dry, and go ahead and create the pockets in those. I'm also going to go ahead and prep my mushrooms. I'm going to slice those, one entire 8-ounce package. And then I'm also going to dice up half of an onion. To my cast iron skillet, I'm adding a little bit of olive oil as well as a tablespoon of butter. I'm going to let that melt, and then I'm going to add in my onion and mushrooms in here and just let those cook down. The original recipe did not call for this, but I'm adding just a sprinkle of salt and pepper over my mushroom and onion. Another thing about the original recipe, it called for 1 cup of fresh spinach. I'm using about a half cup of frozen spinach. It'll cook down in here just fine. I'm also adding in a half teaspoon of thyme and a half teaspoon of minced garlic. I'm just going to let that spinach come up to temperature and also let that garlic cook for just a minute, and then we're going to remove this to a bowl for now. For this recipe, I soaked a couple toothpicks in some water. I'm going to put these in my chicken to help hold everything together. For my chicken breast, I'm just going to season the outside and the inside with salt and pepper. Once I get those seasoned, I'm going to go ahead and stuff both chicken breasts with the mix. I'm just going to split it between the two. Next, we're going to take some shredded mozzarella cheese, and we are just going to shove this in here with the filling as well. Try to put a decent amount in there because you want it to be cheesy. Now we're getting in here with the toothpicks. I'm going to put 2 of the toothpicks in each of the breasts. These are just going to hold it together because these are actually going to go back into the cast iron for just a minute. I melted a couple tablespoons of butter in my pan, and then I'm just going to lay both of the chicken breasts down gently. One of mine was ripped on the back, so it spills out just a little bit, as you can see there. As it cooked, it just continued to rip, but this is just going to help make sure that your chicken cooks all the way through. But we're gonna go ahead and stick this in the oven, and this is going to bake on 375 for about 20 minutes and then broil for 2 to 3 minutes just to help crisp it up a little bit. My chicken didn't get as crispy as I wanted it to in my cast iron, so next time I would definitely cook it a little bit longer in the skillet before moving it to the oven. I just served this chicken with some green beans and wild rice, and I also want to mention that do not skip out on the extra stuff that falls out in the pan. That's this stuff right here. It is so dang good. You're going to want to make sure you get it and put it on your chicken. That filling is just so flavorful. You're going to love it. The last recipe of this video is this pizza stuffed chicken. So I'm going to go ahead and create the pockets in my chicken real quick, and then we're just going to go ahead and get started by adding a little bit of pizza sauce into the bottom of our pan. And let me just say, this recipe is so easy to double, triple, because there's no exact amount of ingredients. You can just throw in what you have and just work with it. So I'm spreading that sauce out on the bottom just so the chicken doesn't stick in the cheese if it melts out. I'm going to add my chicken breasts in here, and then I'm just going to go ahead and start lining some pepperoni in here and then some thick slices of mozzarella cheese. It is optional. You can put some pizza sauce in here as well. I do not like doing that because I think it makes the insides tend to leak out a lot easier. So I just put pepperoni and cheese, and then we end up dipping ours in pizza sauce. Once you get those filled up, go ahead and close them, and then we're just going to top them with a little bit of spices. We're just going to lightly sprinkle with salt, pepper, garlic powder, and Italian seasoning. Now I'm going to top my chicken with some shredded mozzarella cheese. Just try to keep this on top of the breast as much as possible. I know some's going to fall off, obviously mine did here as you can see, but just try to get as much as you can on top of the chicken. And then after you get your shredded cheese on, you're going to go ahead and add more pepperoni to the top. This baked in my oven on 375 for about 30 minutes. If you are temping your chicken, just make sure you're temping the actual chicken and not the inside filling because it could give you a false reading. But here is my finished chicken. I just added a little bit of grated Parmesan cheese and parsley flakes on top. And then like I said, we like to dip ours in the sauce on the side. Thank you so much for coming back again for another video. If you missed it, I started an Instagram page. Go check that out if you are interested. I'm going to be sharing all kinds of stuff there. I will see you guys on Sunday with a new What's for Dinner.